Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am your muse Tracy and I am your favorite manifestation coach. I am here to inspire you and empower you to live the life of your dreams, to create on purpose exactly what you want in all areas of your life, to stop settling and to stop suffering. You are not here to suffer. If that sounds good to you, you are more than welcome to subscribe to my channel. I do offer one-on-one coaching to help you transform and revolutionize your life in all areas. In this coaching program, we take a deep dive into your subconscious programming or your belief system, and we do the work to change the programming so that this will be the last coaching that you need. Okay, we clean up your subconscious programming that you've had since childhood. We work together 2 to 3 times per week. In between sessions, you have your own homework to do, practices to work on and implement. And of course, you have email access to me as well if anything comes up in between the sessions. So it's a lot of hand holding. It is an intensive program. It's an intensive month, but it's designed that way. I designed it that way to transform your life. Again, in all areas. We're not just doing one area. We're not just doing, manifesting an SP, although a lot of people come for that, and that's fine. That's how I started my journey as well. So totally fine. Your SP is the catalyst for all of that, and totally fine. Okay. But we work on all areas of your life, because if you do truly know who you are, the creator of your reality, the operant power, the only one with creative ability in your reality, why would you not create all areas to be exactly as you would prefer them to be? You definitely would. So that's what we work on, all areas. By the end, you will understand effortless manifesting and you will be able to manifest effortlessly. So this takes different amount of time for different people. Some people will stay in coaching with me for a month, some people 2 months, some people 3 months. It's fine. I mean, think about the grand scheme here. 3 months to dedicate to your transformation, your evolution, and becoming a master manifester, and being able to use that and implement that for the rest of your life, I think highly worth it. But it's up to you, right? It's up to you and your journey and how much you can really implement, and how much, again, hand holding you like to have. But you definitely will not need to be in coaching with me forever. I love you all, but I want you to not need me. You don't need me, actually. You are super powerful already. It is necessary sometimes to have a coach to help you see what the programming actually is, and then of course the most efficient, effective way to change it. But you don't need me forever. You are super powerful. You are a master manifester already. All right, so if you're interested in learning more, definitely send me an email and or leave a comment and I will get back to you. All right, you guys. So today I am talking all about consciousness. And I think this is a phrase uh, coined by Neville Goddard. Your consciousness is the real reality. So that's what I want to talk about today. I've been talking a lot about this in my one-on-one sessions this week. I love doing videos that are talking about themes that I've been talking to a lot of my clients about, because it's clearly relevant. There's no coincidence that a lot of people need to hear the same information and will benefit from hearing the same information. So that's what we're talking about today. All right, so consciousness is the real reality. Such a powerful reminder, because we lived most of our life thinking that outside is the real reality, that our mind is just imagination. It's just like a fantasy land. It's like make believe and it's wishful thinking. A lot of us, I know myself, I spent most of my life in that mindset, in that illusion, if you will. But the opposite is actually what is true. Everything in your 3D reality that you can sense with your 5 senses started in consciousness, okay? So this is something that we want to develop the skill. We want to develop the habit of viewing circumstances, 3D reality, anything outside of you that you can sense with your five senses as the after effect. It is the effect of your consciousness. Why? Why is that important? Because if you understand that, then you can understand how powerful your mind is, how powerful you are, because you're not looking for evidence of your creations, your manifestations out there. The evidence starts within you. So you don't need to see the evidence out there. You know, if you have the assumption, the thought in your mind, and if you persist in it, if you stay committed to it, if you stay true to your chosen assumption, you will see the evidence. It will get externalized. It will get outpictured, because that's how this works. That's how this reality works, how it has always worked, and how it will always work. And again, this is how it works, whether you're aware of it or not. You are doing this either consciously or unconsciously. And I'm here to help you guys do it more consciously. What happens when you do it more consciously? Well, you have more of the things that you prefer showing up, because you're not just on autopilot running programs that were probably never yours to begin with, having fears, having doubts, having misunderstandings, having just like these concepts that you took in, and now they're just getting out pictured because that's what is happening in your mind, right? Again, you're doing it consciously or unconsciously. We are here to learn how to do it more consciously, so that more of your preferences, more of your desires are what is getting out pictured. Why? Because why not? Creation is finished. Creation is finished. You are here not to live according to someone else's programming, not to create, on accident, on autopilot, but actually to create exactly what you want in all areas of your life, right? Okay, you guys. So, consciousness is the only reality. So, how do we use this this knowledge, this theory? So you assume your preference regardless of the evidence of the senses, and this is actually your birthright. This is your innate ability, right? Again, this is what previously we thought of as just a daydream, just a imagination, just a fantasy. But your consciousness, you can use it to assume your preference regardless of the evidence. And if you persist in that assumption, that will be what gets out pictured. You don't need the evidence in your 3D in order to assume something different, right? What you see is just evidence of your past assumptions, of your past consciousness, your past thoughts, your past feelings, assumptions, beliefs. And if you keep basing your now assumption on these facts, then you will keep recreating more evidence of these facts, but that is just you doing it. So you choose the story that you prefer to experience, the assumption. You choose the consciousness in regards to anything, in regards to your own body, your physical appearance, your relationships, money, business, anything, and actually, hopefully everything, right? Again, we're not just creating consciously in one area of our life. We do it ideally with everything, right? So you choose the story and you hold that as your new assumption in your consciousness. So Neville talks about something similar, which is to focus on this in your consciousness and feel the feeling of being fulfilled with this assumption until it crowds out all other ideas in your consciousness. What you want to stay away from is keep being like continuously changing, right, from the new assumption back to the old story, the new assumption back to the old story. This is like a flip-flopping, and this is also what Neville calls being double-minded, and this will create the illusion of sort of nothing happening, no movement, nothing showing up in your reality, but it's because you keep going from the new assumption, your preference, to the old story, what's probably in your 3D, and you keep going back and forth so quickly that your reality doesn't have time to catch up. There's a delay. There's a time delay for your manifestations. And you also have to dwell on things for some time, keep going back to them in order for them to show up. Okay, this is actually for our benefit. So we don't oftentimes create just from one fearful thought, which is again to our benefit, that we don't do that. We have to keep having these unwanted thoughts again and again and again. So your mind should be full with this new reality where you already have it. The fulfillment is the feeling that Neville is talking about, feeling like you are fulfilled, which a lot of times is just the absence of doubt, neediness, wanting, lack, right? It's the absence of all of those things. It's not really this heightened emotion. It's just the feeling of fulfillment, of ease, of even relief, of, okay, this thing that I previously identified that I wanted is now a reality for me in my consciousness, because consciousness is the only reality, is the real reality, right? And the less you focus on the old story, the more you focus on the new story, the new assumption, your new chosen preference, the more evidence you will start to see in your reality, right? This is something that Neville talks about in terms of intensity, having this burning desire. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to keep thinking about your desire all day long. I get this question a lot. My clients sometimes worry, like, if I drop it, in other words, if I'm not constantly thinking about it, am I sending the message that I don't want it? No, that's not really what he's talking about. He's talking about if you focus on, Neville is talking about when you focus on your desire and you assume the feeling of fulfillment and you leave it there, you don't have to keep thinking, I'm fulfilled, I'm fulfilled, I'm fulfilled, I'm fulfilled. It's just when you're on the subject, you return to that assumption of fulfillment. In other words, you don't go back to noticing the lack or going back to the old story. Every time you're on the subject, you're on the subject in terms of being fulfilled with it, not the lack of it. You're not going back to the old story. So I hope that clears that up. You don't need to be intentionally, purposefully thinking about it all day long. I got to think about it to create it. I got to think about it to manifest. No, you don't have to do anything actually other than feel fulfillment and not contradict it, not go back to the old story. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. It's actually already been created for you. You're just aligning yourself, aligning your consciousness with this new assumption, with this new preference, so that you shift into the parallel reality where it exists, and then it shows up in your external reality where you can sense it with your 5 senses. All right, so let's talk about, I made some notes about some things that kind of derail us when we are trying to hold this new concept in consciousness. So I want to talk about these things. These are things to like stay away from, to not do as you are holding your new assumption, your new preference in your consciousness so that it gets outpictured. It shows up in your 3D reality, your external reality. Number 1 on the list to stop doing is to stop reacting to the physical world, right? So now and forevermore, stop reacting. If consciousness is the only reality, why would you need to react to the physical reality? You would only be reacting if you think that physical reality is being done to you, right? And this is the basis of not reacting, is understanding that whatever is out there, it's fine to say you don't like it. I don't prefer that, but you don't need to react to it because that's your creation. Again, 3D reality is just the reflection of your past consciousness, your past assumptions. So you don't need to react to your creation, okay? So top of the list, stop reacting. Number 2 is similar, right? Is where we're trying to continuously change the external reality. We're trying to change out there. Well, we're not trying to change out there. Out there will change when you change. When you have persisted in your new assumption, when you have chosen it again and again and again, despite the appearances, right? Despite what the 3D reality is still showing you. Just keep going back to what's in your consciousness. What do you choose to focus on? What do you choose to create? Right? And if you stop giving your attention to the 3D reality, wondering why it's there, wondering when it will change, wondering how you can change it, just stop focusing on it. That's when it will change. That's when it will fade away. I think Neville also has a quote, something like, things wither and die through indifference, right? That is the same for your 3D reality. If you stop caring about something unwanted being in your 3D reality and you remove your attention from it, the thing ceases to be there. It just won't be there anymore. Okay, so we're not trying to change the external reality. The external reality changes as a result of you changing. Okay. The next one, as your consciousness is the only reality that exists, you already have what you want. There is nothing you have to change, and there is nothing that you have to do. Okay, so this is what I was talking about before. You don't actually have to do anything beyond identifying your preference, persisting that that is what you now believe is true, that's now what you assume to be true, and you don't contradict it. Okay, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to think about it 3 times a day. You don't have to feel some type of way other than fulfilled. I mean, you don't have to feel like these heightened emotions. You don't even really have to be in the state. What you really have to do is just not contradict it. Just don't change your assumption. Choose your assumption and commit to it. Just stay there. Just be really still and stay there. When I say still, I mean not necessarily physically, but with your choices, with your assumption, with your preference, right? This is the skill that you want to develop. This is really what this entire video is about. You choose your preference and you stay there and you don't move like you're the tallest building, you know, on the planet. You don't move. You are stationary. You stay there. And how can you do that? Well, by understanding that consciousness is the real reality. You only get moved around, and when I say moved around, I mean in your assumptions, by 3D reality when you have a misunderstanding of who you are and what 3D reality is, right? So that's why you always want to get the fundamentals first, because when you have the fundamentals that this is your reality, everything is responding to you, you're the only one creating, you're the only one choosing, now you can sort of implement these other, I was going to call them techniques. They're not really techniques, these other ideas, like Neville's talking about. Consciousness is the real reality. If you have the foundation that you understand you're the only one creating, now you can implement, okay, then I just choose my preference and I stay there and I don't need to move. 3D reality will respond to me. It is already responding to me. Ooh, that's a good thing to know fundamentally. It is already responding to me. If I respond to it, it's responding to me. We're going to get into like this endless loop thing. So, okay, it's responding to me. I don't need to be responding to it. I am free to choose. Okay. Number 4, the only thing you need to change is your mind, your consciousness, which is related to the second one that I was talking about. You don't need to change external circumstances to choose your preference, to choose your new assumption, right? Creation is finished. You already have the thing that you want. 3D reality is responding to you, right? And so the only thing you really are trying to change is you. You're really trying to change your assumption. Now, here's where we get into some work on your beliefs, right? Because if your new assumption is being challenged by your own belief system, okay, well, we need to do some work on the belief system so that you can choose your preference without any pushback from your belief system, without any resistance there. But again, nonetheless, that is the only thing to change. No one to change but self, right? So we're just trying to do the internal work to change you, change your consciousness, change your belief system, change your assumptions. That's it. That's it. It's all about you, bringing yourself back to you. This is why just wanting the thing out there, stepping over yourself and just give me the SP, just give me, I just want it, I just want that, doesn't really work. It doesn't work. And I know I used to do that. I used to be that person. It didn't really work for me, okay? Because I was stepping over myself for the thing out there that I really wanted. Okay, the last thing to really keep in mind is nothing outside of you is the truth, right? Everything exists. What you see outside and what we sometimes refer to as the facts is just your evidence of your past consciousness, evidence of your past assumptions, evidence of your past beliefs. It's just showing you, it's a mirror reflection. It does not really say anything about what is true. There really are no universal truths. There are very few universal truths, right? So everything is a projection of your mind, a projection of your consciousness. And that's what's showing up in the physical world. There are no absolute truths and facts, and right? It's just what you've previously focused on, what you previously assumed to be true, and here it is, right? So that's why we don't need something out there to tell us if we can assume something new to be true. If you can think of it, it is a possibility. It already exists. There's proof of it somewhere. So that thing that you can assume now is also true. So you can say it that way too. There are no universal truths, or you can say everything is universally true because everything exists. You can say it either way. So this is super important to remember, you guys. Again, we don't need to react. When you know consciousness is the real reality, these are the things to keep in mind. You can stop reacting to 3D reality. You're not trying to change 3D reality, right? You already have what you want. If you can feel the fulfillment in your mind, in your consciousness, it's done. It's already yours. Just because you don't see it in your 3D doesn't mean that it's not already yours, okay? The only thing you need to change is your own mind, your consciousness, your assumptions, and nothing that is in your 3D reality is the ultimate truth. So this is such a powerful reminder, you guys. This is the reminder that I used personally. This is what would shift me back anytime I was having doubt, anytime I was having conflicting evidence. This is what I would go to remind myself my consciousness is the real reality. If I persist in my chosen assumption, it has to show up. It has to show up because I understand how this works. Okay, I understand how this works. Now I have to implement it. This is the implementation, you guys. This doesn't work itself. Again, I'm quoting Neville all over the place here, or paraphrasing at times. I think Neville says something like, yeah, it doesn't work itself, right? And that's really what he meant by you're the operant power. You're the one that has to operate it, right? So you are the one who has to choose your assumption and stay there long enough for it to get outpictured. And then you truly start to understand, oh yeah, this really is all my creation. This really is all responding to me. But if you don't give yourself time, if you don't, implement, then it doesn't work. If you are flip-flopping, if you are reacting to circumstances, if you're saying out there is real and true, if you think you're trying to change out there, if you think your desire doesn't exist, if you think all these things, you're not working it. You're not being the operant power. You have to choose your assumption regardless of the evidence and stay there and stay there and stay there. How long should you stay there? You should be willing to stay there forever without seeing any evidence. Now, the good news is, here's the best news I have for the whole video. I'm glad you made it this far so you can get the best news. You won't have to stay there, persist forever without the evidence. You won't have to. You won't have to, but you should be willing to do that. You should be willing to do that, because then that means you truly understand who you are. You are being it. You're being the operant power. You're making it work, right? It doesn't work itself. You have to be it. This is how you be it. All right, you guys, that's it for this one. Leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.